critical of Rahul Gandhi in the ordinance issue when he actually went out and said that the ordinance is all nonsense. You and your party felt that the entire cabinet and the government had been put through embarrassment. Do you think Rahul Gandhi has had to take on a more aggressive demeanor, so to speak, because of the pressures of Narendra Modi in public discourse?
You see, I think that ordinance issue which you mentioned, I certainly feel that it is an issue which the Congress party should have handled it in their own way.
And do you think that undermined the position of the Prime Minister?
Well, that's for the Prime Minister to answer.
Is the coordination between partners, alliance partners within the UPA better now than it was last July when you actually stopped attending cabinet meetings?
Well, actually the complexion of the UPA has changed vastly. And we happen now by default to be the largest alliance partners of the UPA, and there are very few other partners. So I don't think the communication is as complex as it could have been earlier with Mamata and with the DMK also part of the alliance. So I think to that extent there is much lesser communication, but I think it's more instant, and I think it's one-to-one and the matter gets resolved there.
If Narendra Modi gets the estranged cousin brothers Uddhav Thackeray and Raj Thackeray together, do you think there will be a different battle that you will be facing on the ground in Maharashtra?
I don't think so. Both are competing for the same vote between Uddhav and Raj. So I really don't see much of an issue coming out of there. And I think this is also wishful thinking that both are going to come together. Because the day Uddhav and Raj come together, Raj is going to be a non-entity because he's only fighting for the space which is carved out of the Shiv Sena. So he has no separate vote bank, and the day he decides to fight with them, that's the end of it.
And how do you look at the elections of 2014?
Well, they're going to be very interesting. I can assure you that 2014 elections will not follow a pattern which has emerged all these years historically over the last 50 years. It's going to be very interesting, and it's also going to be I would say, an election where many states will have their own issues. They will have carving out their own identities.
So you're saying the national party's importance will reduce and regional players will grow, and that's where the NCP becomes an important player, trying to get a platform together where all these parties can come.
Well, I can assure you one thing, that the NCP, we are not, you see, we are not a huge party, but we certainly are a party with some relevance on the national scene. We have tall leadership, and I think we also represent a very important state of the country in terms of not only the number of seats, but I think Mumbai, Maharashtra has its own significance in the national context. That notwithstanding, I do agree that the time of one national party or two national parties only occupying full center stage is on the decline. In young India, the demographics of India will not allow any political party to occupy that kind of an emotional space which was occupied earlier.
A three-time Member of Parliament from the Lok Sabha and twice from the Rajya Sabha, Praful Patel is a successful businessman turned politician. You're a successful businessman in your own right. Your assets have been headlines for a long time. In fact, I was just reading that you made the headlines when your assets in 2 years grew from 80 crores in 2009 to 122 crores in 2011. How does this businessman really fit into this Sarkari system?
All politicians' assets are going to grow by 100-200% only because the valuation of lands and buildings or properties which we own maybe historically have appreciated. So that is the reason why all our assets are growing. But that notwithstanding, yes, I have a business background. My father was in business. I have been in business. I have, of course, no more continuing to be active in business, obviously due to my government job. But I have really, enjoyed various responsibilities in my career. As I said, I started with the municipality. For 7 years, I was, president of the Municipal Council of Gondia, which you would not have heard unless I told you that I'm there.
One of the questions that you must have been asked several times as Civil Aviation Minister, you were the one authoring, the merger of Indian Airlines with Air India. In hindsight, is that something that you would want to revisit if given an opportunity?
Well, you see, all these decisions were very well thought of. This merger issue came right from the time of J.R.D. Tata. It was being discussed in the government, and nobody has done this knee-jerk. People, unfortunately, don't understand how government works. A presentation was made before the highest authorities. Then an international consulting company like Accenture was appointed. It went through a committee of secretaries which met on dozens of occasions.
But you don't think that's the cause for the problems of Air India today?
No, I don't think that is a problem. You see, these are cumulative issues which have been going on. Remember, the NDA government was disinvesting. They had already tendered for the sale of Air India and Indian Airlines.
Mr. Praful Patel, what's the next agenda or next target for you as a politician, for you as a person?
Well, I think, as I said, substantive work, meaningful work gives me more satisfaction. As an MP, I work in my constituency, I dare say, but very few people, really put heart and soul the way I do. But I don't want to tom-tom about it. It's for the people of my constituency to judge. But the fact is that gives me immense satisfaction, changing at least, if one individual changes the lives of at least few people in one part of the country, I think that itself, builds up the way the nation is going to develop in the future.
The question that everybody wants to ask Praful Patel is not whether he's going to be in Parliament, but whether he's going to be the man who's going to take over the baton from Sharad Pawar. Sharad Pawar is not going to contest Lok Sabha elections next year. Will it be Praful Patel who will be the generation next of NCP? That's the question that everybody would want to know from Praful Patel. Whether the UPA makes a comeback or not in 2014, the NCP has plans to play an active role in the alternative formation. But what 2014 will throw up is anybody's guess right now. This week it was Praful Patel on The Real Politik, and next week we will have yet another politician giving us a real insight into the real politics.